Who are you and why do we care?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you fitting me in on the podcast. Yeah, like you said, I'm Elijah Melendez. I am a local here in Atlanta. I moved here from Mobile, Alabama when I was about 8 years old. Played tennis in juniors all growing up in the predominantly in the Georgia Southeast area. Was fortunate enough to play at Georgia Tech from 2014 to 2018, and somewhat hung up the rackets after college, moved into my professional career post college, did not pursue professional tennis, but went into the business field. Now I'm in sales, but have also started getting the itch back right into tennis. I think you take a little bit of a break after college, and then you start coming back, and it's like, oh dang, I actually really enjoy this sport again. And so now I've started up a tennis league and still play Alta, still play a lot of things around with some of my friends. So
Yeah, so main reason we want to talk today is about that league because we assume Alta, we all enjoy it. We play in the leagues. We like to still play. I don't think Bobby plays ever anymore. I know I have pretty much hit that point where I don't know if I'll ever actually play in a league again, but you never know.
yeah.
But in this case, you've got a fairly unique leagues. You got a specialty that you invented, and it's only a couple of years old, right?
Yeah. So kind of the objective behind it was I knew there were, I say a handful, there's probably over 100 of me in Atlanta. And when I say me, it's your ex D1 players, pretty high level players, ex pro, teaching pros now, or, at some club or whatever, that still can compete at a high level and quite frankly want to compete at a high level. But there wasn't really an avenue for us to compete in, right? Double A1 Alta is great. I played it for many years. I still play Alta, but it wasn't drawing everyone. And I was like, what is going to get players to get out on the court? And for me, I enjoy playing poker. I enjoy putting money on golf, right? Like, hey, $20 on a round, right? Like, let's figure it out how to make it competitive. And I was like, there needs to be a money component to it. Guys will show up if they get paid, right? And so that kind of spawned the idea. And I've been waiting a couple years for someone to do it. I thought, maybe Alto would reconfigure some double A1 stuff. And I've talked to them about that on, ways to kind of incorporate it. But then I was like, all right, I guess I'm the one who needs to do it. Like no one's doing it. So I guess I have to do it. And so the idea came up last summer or about this time last year was when I was like, all right, I've got a couple of clubs who want to do it. We're going to run with it. And it ended up being a much bigger success than I thought I could have ever thought it would have been. I thought it would have been something I tried and maybe handed off to someone to run or do. But at this point, it's almost getting to a point to where it's really sustained. I've got a couple of clubs that are very, very, bought into this, to the idea. They like having a team. They're really bought into, kind of sponsoring their team and housing the matches. And it's been a really, really big success for me.
And so in this case, this is different. There are two leagues that are high, I say higher level than a double A1, right? So you got
Yeah.
double A1 guys, usually former college players, maybe a guy like me, played NAIA. I'm pretty good, but I'm not don't put me in at double A1 line one. It's not going to
Yeah.
work for me. But you're a different kind of player because you're at double A line one and you're like, well, who's next? Like, what what's after this? So there are a couple of leagues that offer something similar to this. Marcus Rucci
Yeah.
at Atlanta Athletic Club runs the Atlanta Pro League, which coincidentally was reestablished last year also. So we get
Yep.
questions all the time. Say, wait, all right, which pro league? Now, that was called Pro League. You've renamed yours in, I would say, an attempt, I would say, in success of branding it differently and targeting different kinds of players.
Yeah, yeah, no, me and Marcus, it was funny. We actually, when I started talking about the league, everyone was like, "You need to talk to Marcus, talk to Marcus." And Marcus and I have actually we coordinate very, very closely when the seasons come around. I actually originally was going to run my matches on Friday nights as well, and I shifted to Thursday nights so that we both didn't our leagues are achieving different results at the end of it. Like we both said, hey, like they are similar, but they're different. So there's not really a need for us to bring them together, maybe yet or ever. Like we talk, we coordinate, we make sure we're running things, cohesively with each other's and making sure they're a success. Um, but I actually ended up changing mine to Thursday nights, which I believe ended up for the demographic and for the players that are in my league, it ended up working really, really well in the summers because I last summer we had some college guys that were, playing. It is a good way for, guys to be playing some doubles in the summers when they're between seasons. And with me moving it to Thursdays, they're actually able still to travel and play their, normal tournaments that they're going to play on the weekends. And if I had played Fridays, I would have been conflicting with, summer schedules in the weekends. And Thursday, it's actually a great warm up, right? Thursday nights playing a fun doubles match, make some money. Like, why not?
Exactly. And that's a great thing because you do target different player demographics
Yeah.
within the two different leagues. And we're happy to be a part of both of them because we'd love to say, hey, look, if you're this type, then you need to talk to these guys. If you're this other type, come over here. And there's a reason to be a part of each of them. And we've got a few guys that are actually one of the players on our GoTennis team last season also played in your league. So there are some that play in
Yeah.
both.
Yep.
I don't know how you take a Friday night off and a Thursday night off if you're a teaching pro, but I guess they can.
Yeah, no, super big dedication there, for sure on trying to play both. But yeah, like you hit the nail on the head. They're different demographics, different goals, right? I think for mine, it was definitely to get the highest possible level that I could find, right? And get those guys there. And Marcus's, is catering to in a different way. And so we both just kind of talk, communicate, and Thursday nights ended up being a great night for the clubs, for the players. And I also even changed the name. At first, I did Atlanta Team Tennis, which was the first season. And then well, it was funny. I was going to do Atlanta Pro League, but then that's when Marcus and I talked, and it was like, hey, that's probably wouldn't be advisable or possible. And yeah, it wouldn't have been a good thing. So then I spun off and I was like, what could I do to, because I've wanted it to be fun. I've wanted it to be interactive, with the players, engaging with the members during matches, like having fun. Not, I mean, they're playing for money, so they're out there to win, but be fun, be interactive. Like I didn't really want there to be like these crazy confined rules because that's something that I loved about college tennis is you can talk with your teammates, you can talk with your coaches on changeovers and between points, and it's this like team environment. And Alta is a team environment, but there's not like I don't know. It's just when you play college tennis, it's just different, right? There's that team dynamic that I missed, right? I think in my mind, I know this is a question later, but like what would I change about tennis? But the team aspect of tennis to me is the peak of tennis. If you can find a way to perfect that format, um, then I think things go really, really well for the player and also the spectators.
Which
Um,
enough, I think a lot of those that experience that all agree with you. I don't know that anybody else that didn't experience it can really understand that. Now, Bobby, you run a very team-like atmosphere at your club, even though only a few of them end up going to play high-level tennis.
Yes, and I think just through the podcast we've heard it repeatedly. What we want the team aspect, and just using Elijah as an example, that the majority of D1 players quit after they stop, once they graduate from college. It's frightening that 70% never pick up a racket again. And like you said, something that so dominated your life that you just put completely aside. But the
yeah.
people that we have heard from that continue to play, they all go back to that team environment and that feeling. And I think it's great. And Elijah, we did it probably 20 years ago. We had what I guess was the more competitive version. TJ Middleton was still in town. Andre Janaszak, Paul Mancini, all those guys aged out, unfortunately. So it kind of lay dormant for a while. So it's exciting because, and as you said, you know, we get jazzed up, and yes, you're doing it for your ego. The people go to these when they watch. The biggest kick they get out of the fact is that nobody misses. We
Yeah.
pro-ams and we just rally back and forth. that's enough for most people because they can't do it. So to
Yeah.
see it on a whole nother level and then see young guys doing it where you're not worrying about whether or not there's going to be a tragic injury that comes out of this, it's got to be a more relaxing environment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And the environment is the key there, right? Like I think it's intense, it's high level, but also at the same time, like I wanted to remove that barrier of even like you said, like people watching and being like there not being there's a bit of a disconnect of like spectator to player, and I was wanting to try to create an environment of like, hey, talk to the members. Like if you go sliding into a forehand and hit something, like give someone a high five. Like I've tried to encourage captains to like have the players engaged, talk to them before, talk to them after, right? Especially from a sponsor standpoint, because a big part of how this league even runs, like I could not run the league without the help and sponsorship from the members at each of the clubs. That's how I'm able to pay the players what we pay them is from the sponsorships from the clubs. And I've tell the guys, I'm like, hey, the only reason you're out here getting paid playing is because those people sitting over there are paying to have you come play. So you better go shake their hands, let them talk to you, like let them get to know you, because that's the only way this is running. And so the guys have done a really good job. I've gotten good feedback from the clubs of, wow, like I've never been able to interact with these guys as much as we normally have been with stuff like this. This is a lot of fun. Like I love coming out and they bring out, beer and alcohol and drinks and stuff. And it's a really good environment and they really enjoy it. Obviously, guys like me we play better and, with people watching, it brings out the competitive spirit and it's a fun time.
Well, I think you nailed it too. And this is something a big gripe I have with professional tennis is accessibility of the players. When I
Exactly.
was getting my master's degree at Georgia State, we did a trip to Talladega. Hershey's wanted us to come out and do a survey. And I was from New York. I didn't know much about NASCAR for sure. And part of it was funny is that, yes, a lot of the fans were what you expected. But the amazing part to me from a sponsor's perspective was if you said you were Terry Labonte, and I use him because he wasn't one of the top, let's say, five drivers at the time, you knew he was Sugar Frosted Flakes. His fans would name 10 of his sponsors, and he was accessible to them. And I always feel like tennis is such a great sport. If you ever made the players more accessible, you'd go
Mhm.
to a whole nother level because then there's more of that personal connection. Like you said, listen, you guys are all too young to remember Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors made it a science to go into the stands and high five people and
Exactly. Yeah.
use the crowd to his advantage. So I think that just it helps everybody's player experience, watching experience. And it just and I don't know enough about the bones. I'd love to. How big are your teams? How many people playing on a given night?
So we draft. So I'm actually increasing the teams this season because it's gotten so I left out a lot of players the last two seasons. And so I'm actually going to extend it to 12 people are drafted on the teams, and we're going to play four lines. So eight guys will start out at 12.
Okay.
And so the how the draft goes, it's like a fantasy football draft. So we have our league on UTR. So they built out this league software. And I believe I was one of the beginning leagues on there from this, especially from this standpoint, to kind of try out this league software. And it's been a big success, and I'm going to run it on there pretty much indefinitely. But how we run it is I have the sign up. It's free to sign up, so anyone can sign up. So the accessibility, I'm like, hey, anyone sign up, see if you get drafted, right? So I've got six clubs. So six captains will draft, and we basically just create like a snake draft, like a fantasy football. So if there's like six captains, like it'll go one, two, three, four, five, six, six, five, four, three, two, one, one, two, three, and it will just go down. So that if you're on the sixth pick, you get the sixth person and the seventh person. So in theory, you're getting the worst first person, but the best second person. So that's where it kind of evens out. And honestly, we've done a pretty darn good job of having a good distribution of players level wise. Like we have some really good matches that come out of the league, which has been a lot of fun. So that's how we kind of draft. So this season the captains will draft 11 players. They're one, so they'll draft 11 additional players on their team. Four lines of doubles will be played. And then those are best two out of three, like normal matches. And that will be four lines. And then going into playoffs, we're going to reduce that down to three lines because obviously if you do four lines, if you go 2-2, I'd have to either do like a 10-point breaker or something like that. That's a little too, when guys are playing for a couple $1,000, like that's a little too high stakes for a 10-point breaker for a tiebreaker. So I'm going to reduce it down to three lines. So it's just, that's what we've been doing is three lines of doubles. So the guys are used to that.
So, and what clubs are you playing at right now?
Yeah, so my clubs, I'm still confirming a few. I'm trying to there I have a good bit of interest, so I'm trying to figure out the what I want in a club is really good member engagement, right? I really want and I want it to be seen as a value add. Some clubs are like, hey, guest fees for courts, this, that, and like I get they've got to do what's best for their club, but a lot of my clubs see it as a value add. They get the sponsors involved. They love, Thursday nights are a free night for them. They love having it out there. Their members love it. They raise the sponsors. So right now, my core clubs, right, that I call them are you got Old Town Athletic Club, you've got Martin's Landing, you've got Vickery, you've got Marietta Country Club is an awesome one, and then what's my fifth one? Shoot, I forgot. I'm blanking on my fifth one. But basically those last one or two, I am I'm gonna fill, and so I'll have six clubs total.
And you said you keep saying sponsors. Tell me, because I'm just guessing it's not what my idea of a traditional sponsor is. What are your sponsors? Who are are they individuals, just diehard fans? Because obviously you're talking about a good deal of. It sounds like there's a decent amount of prize money associated with it. So where's the money coming from?
Yeah, I Country Club of Roswell is the other club. Sorry, they've housed the team the last two seasons. Do what?
Can't forget Harris.
I know. Yeah. Um, so yeah, and then Laurel Springs housed the team as well. This was their first season. This last season, they actually won it.
That's
So
right.
they've got the trophy.
Sebastian. Yeah,
I
Sebastian.
did a big trophy. Yeah, I did a big trophy, and they've got it during the season. So they'll be trying to bring the trophy back.
But that didn't go over well at Martin's Landing because I'm pretty sure Marcus Hertig is fairly competitive.
Yes, very competitive. But yeah, so last season too, it was roughly about a 9-week season, be it 5 weeks during the season, 1 week off. Then I did 1 week each of playoffs. There was like 3 weeks of playoff. Did that the last two seasons and realized it's just a little long. There's a good bit of time commitment. And so what we're actually going to do is we're going to shorten it down to actually a 5-week season, which is going to be great. So you do your 5 weeks of playoffs. So you'll play that Thursday, and then that following weekend, that following Saturday and Sunday, we're doing quarterfinals, semifinals on Saturday, and everyone's at the same courts. So all matches are going to be there. So um, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, so I don't want to say the place it's going to be at. But it will be all matches playing at one facility for quarterfinals and semifinals and on finals on Sunday. So it'll be great because that was the other thing is there was never a time. This is also a good thing about me I'm learning, right? Because it's literally a one-man show. I mean, I know I say that lightly because I would not be able to do it without a ton of people, but on the back end, it is a one-man show, and I can iterate pretty quickly as much as I want to. And I think this is going to be a really good iteration to bring all my teams together in one spot and have everybody playing together at one spot. It's good for the players to all be together, but it's good for the spectators as well to be able to have multiple matches that they can go and see and watch. And from a sponsor standpoint too, it's a good place to garner a lot of eyeballs on something. But to your question about the from the sponsor side, my goal is to raise about $2,000 to $3,000 per club to sponsor their team. And so a couple of different avenues I've thought of raising the sponsorship is, we've done logos on the shirts. So I put logos up on the website, social media awareness. I do as much as I can on that piece, on that side. Will do, this was a big hit this last season, was I basically I call it a pro-am, but it's just a tennis night where the teams are drafted, and then we do a tennis night with the players and any of the members that want to come play and just have a fun tennis night. We can do round robins. You can do a a player per tennis court. You can do a serve court. I basically just left it open to the clubs to decide how they wanted to structure the night. But the goal of the night was, hey, let's do a fundraising night for the team, and let's all try to band together, do a little bit more of a crowdsource model of, hey, if you want to support the team, like come join a fun tennis night and support. Any and all support is needed and appreciated. So
I smell a real gambling component to this that is getting excited.
yes. Oh yeah. No, that is, trust me, I've had a lot of people come up and ask me when I can do that. And I personally am not the most knowledgeable about that stuff. So I just haven't looked into it, but I do know like there could be an avenue there, and people would definitely get involved on that
Yeah,
piece.
we did a little Calcutta back in the day when I
Yep.
was at White Columns. Dude did 2 years running, and I think the second year, and this was all just players in the neighborhood, there was close to $10,000 going back and forth. And I was like, this is, I couldn't be associated with it from that perspective because I was like, oh, great. But yeah, I think Trevor Short would really be interested in this. This hits
Yeah.
all his components. He likes a good gambling event as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I need to talk to him. I know Trevor well, so I need to pick his brain on that side.
He'll be back soon. I think he's in Indian Wells or wherever he's at now, but he'll be back soon. Yeah, that's interesting. That's good for you guys. But yeah, that's always it. It's great that the clubs are taking ownership. And as you said, when you're talking about that level club, there's somebody in there that has a position that this could work for them. And
Yeah.
it's a matter of just getting it out there, shaking the trees. And like I said, especially let me know. I have somebody that might be very interested, especially now that you're doing an end of the season. With your end of the season last year, how many eyeballs did you get? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, like on social media
How,
or
how
just.
many people showed up for the event
Oh
itself?
yeah, our final was at Martin's Landing, and that I mean, we took a picture with all the people. I mean, there was, I don't want to say a couple of hundred, but there was upwards of 100 people at that last match, and it was not planned to be there either. And so that's my point is like if I can facilitate like everyone knowing that the final is going to be at this facility, and like on Saturday and Sunday there's 3 matches and there's that structure. I mean, I could see it being, a couple hundred, if not like 1,000 over the weekend.
Especially moving in, we lost the Atlanta Open. There's a dearth to see
Yeah.
that high level, and then make it interactive. I think you could potentially really have something that's exciting for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And through solutions like Swing Vision, I've thought about trying to get into a streaming component of it, to stream the matches as well. That's a whole other piece. I want to bite. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, right? There's endless things that I could do, and I want to make sure that the number one goal is to, quite frankly, is to get the level as high as it physically can and pay the players as much physical money as I can. I'm not doing this to make a ton of money off of it. I want to make it, worth my time, but I've got my day job. I'm doing this, respectfully. I want to go make my money from the matches I win, right? Like I want to make it worth it for me too. Like I want to put something on it for me. And so I'm trying to make the structure as much given back to the players as possible, because that brings the members to watch the level, and as much money as I can get the higher level players to come.
Wow, that's against everything my mentor in sports marketing told me about. Pay the players as little as you have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Think the problem. Hey, what do you, I mean, because I saw you, I guess the first time I became acquainted with your face was at the In Tennis exhibition.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you look at them as a competitor? Because they're going to have a team here in that time. Seems like you're going after pretty much the same player. How's that working out?
Yeah. No, Andrew and I we actually just did another expedition down at Georgia Tech, what, two
Two
weeks ago?
weeks ago. Yeah.
And that one was a great success, and I'm actually trying to garner more interest with Intense, because I think Intense, one thing is they've got the backing to run something like this, and so him and I we've talked. We've been in conversations on a couple of different avenues of working together, and so I love it. I'd say the first time I played it, it was a little hard to navigate a little bit as a player. I would say but the first time I played it, it was a broken down version of it. And the second time I played it, it was much, much better. And so that's what I would say is don't hate on it till you try it a couple times, because I'll say it. I was like, hey, I don't think this is gonna work. And then I played it the second time and I'm like, hey, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I think it could garner a lot of interest, especially from the players. Like I think that the accessibility from a pay standpoint, I think they are, if ATP is here, I think Intense is here, and then Live is a step below Intense, because Intense is looking to get, someone who's on season, like on salary, right? Like there's a much higher um, area to line to entry for that. Like I don't think I would even make it on Intense, like from their pro league, right? And so I definitely do think that there is a limit from crossover, I would say, from
Mhm.
Live and Intense. But we've talked about it. They've wanted to do a format of kind of like a Formula One format, and potentially my league being the league right below it, right? And it'd be kind of like a feeder league to his league. And so we've talked about some neat ideas of how we could work together in that, because it is very similar from the fan integration, like wanting to get that engagement from, player to fan up. There's a lot of crossover with it. And so we both enjoy and we talk a good bit about it.
And it, it's had some success. I mean, World Team Tennis, it was here. We were heavily involved with it back in the day. I used to do the sideline announcing for them, and it was, it was a party. We brought the Jensen brothers out to, and we brought the Atlanta Thunder out to AC/DC's Thunder. So it was meant to be that. But from a business standpoint, oh my God, there were so many rules that got in its way from success that I don't think it ever reached and obviously you have a very limited window when you were talking about that level player. You had 4 weeks in August maybe to be able to capitalize using them. But there is an interest in the team aspect of it. It's just not getting in your own way. And a lot of things they did, they got in their own way with the way this guy couldn't play against this guy because of for business reasons. It got expensive. I get it, but this is a real opportunity because I do especially think here without the Atlanta Open, there's a lot of great tennis here. I always go back to the story. I think the year it wasn't Ken Flack, it was Doug Flack beat Andre Agassi at Wimbledon. And he came back and played Alta here and or played the pro league and had a losing record. It's like, so, it's like, wow, the level of tennis is pretty crazy here when you get to it. So it's exciting that you guys, the younger guys, Marcus's guys are a little older. The younger guys are going to get out there where the people can see just that level.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm done, Shaun. I know I've monopolized this. I'm
No, that's great. I don't have to ask the whole, hey, Bobby, what do you got for him? Like, you exhausted yourself. I know when you're done. I'm good with that. So to end up, and one, I appreciate your time. We appreciate your time, Elijah. But I do want to ask my favorite question and see what you've got for us here. Is we always ask if you were the king of tennis, whether any scale, just Atlanta, the whole world, any level, if you were the king of tennis, is there anything you would do or change?
What would I do or change? I hate to be it's along the same vein of what I'm doing and what I created. But that the team aspect of tennis I think needs to improve substantially, even at the alto level. It almost seems like the lower level you go down, the worse the team aspect and dynamic gets. Um, Tennis is at its best format when it's in the team format, and I think I'm trying to do my part and create a league and bring that up and show people, kind of model it. Hey, even at the highest level, we're not pros, but we've played in D1 or college, and this is how a team environment should look, and this is how people talk to each other. This is how it works, and talk to your teams, be encouraging, stay for the matches, like do all of these things. And so I would say I would love to see a higher integration of team tennis in a healthy way.
And Bobby, I don't have to ask him how he's gonna do it because I'm pretty sure he just said he's doing it.
He's doing it. Exactly.
I'm trying, and we're in the third season, so hopefully it'll be a success this summer.
Hey, this is when Seinfeld took off the magical third season. So good luck to
Oh, I like that. I like
you.
that.
This is where we'll really know, Elijah, where we'll really
Yeah.
know. And Go Tennis will help. Whatever we can do to help promote and let everybody know what's going on. We also know potential sponsors, vendors, people want to get involved in tennis and racket sports things. We know who they are. So we appreciate you coming on and talking to us and our audience. Anybody out there listening, watching, you're interested in this kind of stuff, give us a call. We'll hook you up with Elijah and we'll figure it out. But Elijah, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Bobby, as always, where are you? Bobby's
I'm here.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Elijah, thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.